Well, it was a leap of faith for one Champaign family, while the journey to citizenship was not easy. Plus, it's a business that started off as a fruit stand, how one man turned this into a piece of Chicago history. And it's a celebration signifying a young girl becoming a young woman, why it's an important milestone in the life of a teenage girl.
WCIA 3, this is Hispanic Heritage.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Karina Rubio. As we do every year, we are celebrating Hispanic Heritage Month. Over the next 30 minutes, you'll hear stories highlighting the influence, contributions, and culture of Hispanic Americans in Central Illinois and across the state. And we begin in Champaign, where a family has been celebrating the month in a big way after a long journey to citizenship. For the Vega Zamora family, the saying could not be more true. It's not where you are, it's who you're with.
We take the leap of faith, and decide to come here.
That leap landed the Vega Zamora family in the United States in 1999. They said goodbye to Costa Rica and hello to Champaign in search of a better future.
Costa Rica is a wonderful country. It's absolutely gorgeous. I mean, I go there once, twice a year. The problem was that back in the early 90s, it was like a transition of the society or to the point where the economy was suffering for it.
When we arrived here to Champaign, we just got $36 in our pockets. I had to work 2 jobs, and my wife was working too.
In the beginning, it was very hard. I didn't feel like, I miss my country.
As the parents of 2 young children, Mauricio and Bernardina felt the risk was worth it.
You always think about this country, like the country of opportunities. Since I was a kid, I always dreamed to live in this country.
But to truly fulfill that dream, he says he wanted to be here legally. It wasn't easy to get there.
It's honestly been a really unjust journey for them. I remember my mom would get fired from a job, or my dad would have to switch jobs because of their documentation.
Despite struggles, the Vega Zamoras built a new life and made a new home in Central Illinois.
At least we are all together. We don't, mind where we can be just together.
We didn't really see the hardship that much, or at least we ignored it because they made it seem like, hey, everything's cool.
Aaron was 11 when they made the move. Nashla was 6.
I remember sitting in class and not being able to speak English.
When I came here, the shock was everything was different. In Costa Rica, soccer is the king sport. For him and I to be on a computer on dial-up, trying to listen to a game on the Costa Rican radio, so you would hear, just wait for a minute, goal.
But as kids, they adjusted pretty quickly in just a matter of months.
Once I was able to speak even a lick of English, I hit the ground running. I went from quiet to getting on my report card, does not stop talking. Does great work, but doesn't stop talking.
But when they got to high school, citizenship status became more apparent.
We both like to play sports, and not being able to further our sports or even get our college paid for by sports, through sports, because of our documentation was really hard.
I personally had, 3-4 scholarships taken away from me, and there was nothing I could do.
Aaron eventually became a citizen after marrying his wife. Nashla qualified for DACA, and Mauricio and Bernardina got their chance too.
When we became a permanent resident in 2016, that was very exciting.
After residency, you have to wait 5 years to apply for citizenship.
The process is, one, so expensive, and you have to provide so much information, and it's really just a long, long waiting game.
I love this country, I do, but there are certain laws and politics that they're for the old ages. What the government measures is your morals. So think about how difficult it is for you to measure someone's morals. Yeah. How do you, what do you have to know about them to know that they're gonna be good citizens?
The waiting game finally came to an end last month. The couple who took the leap had their grounding moment and became citizens in the place they've called home for more than 2 decades.
I'm almost at their age now, and I can't imagine being a couple years older with 2 kids, with $36 in my pocket, and somehow making it work.
They're the strongest people I've ever met. And every day, as a father, I try to just imitate them.
Mauricio and Bernardina had their citizenship ceremony in St. Louis. Aaron's was at the Champaign County Courthouse in 2015. But citizenship is still a path many people are still trying to navigate. The Western Illinois Dreamers Welcome Center opened this past August in Peoria. Nina McFarland shows us how the facility is providing relief for local immigrants.
Empowering immigrant communities in Peoria with the Western Illinois Dreamers Welcome Center.
Well, it's a challenge to face every day because it's difficult not to understand English and to not speak it. But well, with strength, anyone can do it.
This is Yolanda Vasquez, and she is seeking political asylum. She's been in Peoria for 7 years, and with the help of the center, Vasquez and her children were able to stay afloat.
With this is the third time that I've utilized these services.
The Welcome Center provides services like financial aid with rent and bills, also connecting clients with medical services in the area.
Well, now I'm waiting for rent help. They already helped me with the light bill. And, well, now I'm waiting. We're hoping it arrives soon.
Western Illinois Dreamers Vice President Andrea Escobar says they have helped more than 100 people in the past month.
We have seen it grown because we have an office, so people sometimes feel the need to see something in person as compared to just picking up the phone and calling, because you don't know who's picking up at the other end, but you can see someone when you walk in an office.
She says the center is a great asset to the community, as connecting with residents can be hard due to fear.
With Latinx clients or just the immigrant refugee population, they're very hesitant to come out of the shadows. They don't want to overstep. They don't want to ask for something because they're scared that it might come back to bite them.
All right, and coming up after the break, a Central Illinois business owner is keeping his family's legacy alive. Groceries are a basic necessity for all of us, and going to the supermarket is a common chore on that weekly to-do list. But El Progreso Latino in Champaign is one of only a few stores offering the familiar flavors of home to people in the area. Going to the grocery store is a weekly chore for most families, but if you're searching for a product from another country or culture, it's usually confined to the single ethnic or international aisle of your local big box store. That's not the case at El Progreso Latino in Champaign.
When we moved to Champaign, there was no a Mexican or Latino grocery store.
That's why Alex Corrado's family opened the store 14 years ago when they came here from Guatemala. For them, it's a taste of home. I feel that all of us that live in this place look for a little piece of our roots. Those roots run deep throughout the aisles of El Progreso. If you're looking for a product from a certain Central or South American country, you'll find it here. Everything from spices, food, snacks, candy, and even kitchen and home items. And if you're firing up the grill, you can get your cut at the carniceria or butcher shop. And if you get all of your grocery shopping done, but you're a little too tired to head home and cook, you can just head over to the restaurant side and grab whatever you want, like a couple of tacos. The store has also created a sense of community. Employees say the Hispanic population in Champaign County and beyond is big.
Es muy amigable.
The community is very friendly. It's nice to work in a place where they speak your language and you can also have a conversation with them. They just don't come in, pay, and leave. You can also ask how they are and how their day is going, and they will talk. But El Progreso is a welcoming place to all. Non-Hispanic people frequent the store looking for something new to try. No matter who you are, Corrado says you're more than just a shopper here.
The customer is not like a customer for us, it's a friend. We must know every single name of all the people comes over here.
And the Corrado family also has store locations in Urbana and Rantoul. And if you have a sweet tooth after dinner, La Michoacana Express in Urbana can satisfy that craving. The owner, Adela Rodriguez, says a Mexican ice cream shop is much different from the ones most people may be used to. They have all the usual, like all kinds of flavors of ice cream and paletas, or Mexican popsicles. But what makes it unique are the antojitos, the Spanish word for Mexican street food. If you prefer salty snacks, you can get things like homemade potato chips with lime and chile on top. Rodriguez opened the shop 5 years ago and says there was one thing that made her realize Urbana was the perfect location. The Hispanic population is growing here, and there's not a business like this. We knew the business was going to be successful. Michoacana is a seasonal business. The shop closes in late November and reopens on March 1st. And it's a Chicago-made American success story. At just 19, Jose Jimenez arrived from Mexico and was working 3 jobs. Not long after, he took a leap and opened a fruit stand. As Lourdes Duarte reports, his success now gives you a sense of the growth of Chicago's Latino population over the last 5 decades.
Along busy Fullerton Avenue between the murals and the traffic sits what's become a piece of Chicago history. In big, bold letters, Jimenez is the name of the neighborhood shop.
The first thing that I check everything. Tomatoes, avocados, bananas.
At 70, Jose Jimenez is the man behind the name.
Hi, mijo. ¿Cómo estás?
He's turned it into a family business that started 47 years ago.
It was Fruteria Jimenez. That was the name of the business, and then eventually changed it to Carniceria Jimenez, because what became a fruit stand, he added a butcher department. And little by little, over the years, we've grown.
From one shop to now 7 in Illinois and more than 400 employees.
The first day that we opened, I can't forget, because we sold $17 in the whole day.
By the following year, they were selling $4,000 in a single weekend.
My father was one of the Mexican pioneers back in the early 70s.
His American success story has been getting a lot of attention lately.
Honor a quien honor merece, al señor José Jiménez de Carnicerías Jiménez.
The patriarch of the Jimenez brand, recognized for a lifetime of work. And it can all be traced back to this small piece of paper, a receipt hanging on his office walls today, dated 1975. That's the year someone offered to sell him a produce shop for $3,000.
Mr. Frank, are you selling the store? Yes. You want to buy it? Yeah, but I have no money. How much money you have?
He had $200 and paid the rest off over time.
We're talking 1975, many years ago. And we don't sign any papers. He just says, the store is going to be yours.
And in a matter of years, the Jimenez shops took off.
When I make the store a little bigger, I put meat and grocery.
By 1980, then Mayor Jane Byrne was cutting the ribbon at a new location.
There's not a single day that I don't come to work and I say, wow. Knowing his background, knowing that, he crossed the border on his own with nothing.
But the success of his stores isn't necessarily why he's been recognized lately.
My dad and my mom have always given back to the communities that they're a part of.
Time and time again, he's helped with recovery efforts after major disasters in Latin America and the Caribbean. In 2010, he sent 5,000 bags of food to Haiti after the earthquake.
We did in Guatemala, Puerto Rico, different countries.
It's those acts of kindness that his family says made him stand out, and over the decades gained the respect of some of Chicago's fastest growing neighborhoods.
I love Chicago because Chicago is a beautiful city. Chicago has a lot of things for everybody, not just for me.
All right, and still to come here on WCIA.
With every new experience and every challenge, you learn more, and you add more life experiences to your toolbox.
And this police chief is no stranger to those challenges, where she's breaking barriers in central Illinois. Well, some people in Decatur are also celebrating Hispanic heritage. Last month, they flocked to a festival at Fairview Park. That event was hosted by the Centro for Hispanic and Immigrant Community, or CHICO. This was the second annual festival, and people came together for music, dancing, and food. There were also games, balloon animals, and face painting for the whole family to enjoy. Organizers say it's a great way to celebrate culture and community.
I wanted to be engaged around, my people, and so just finding all these different community members and just creating visibility has been really important to me.
People also had the chance to support small business owners at the shopping booths. And safety is a top priority on any college campus, but that can't happen without a university police department. And the police chief at Eastern Illinois University is making history. She's the first woman and the first Hispanic in that role. If you asked Marisol Gamboa 20 years ago, she never thought the word chief would precede her name. She had just become a patrol officer in a small Texas town after graduating from a community college police academy.
I had to pretty much show everybody else there, all the other male sergeants, that I was capable of doing the job just as well as they were.
It wasn't too hard for Gamboa to find the motivation.
At the beginning, I was a single mother of 2.
She says a career in law enforcement meant financial stability. On top of that, Gamboa was and is a first-generation American and the first in her family to attend college. Her parents moved from Mexico to the United States in the 70s.
We grew up very poor. We grew up in a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom trailer, and there was 10 of us, 8 siblings and my mom and dad.
Gamboa's humble beginnings is what made her reach for more. She wanted to show her parents the sacrifices they made were well worth it.
So I wanted something that was going to make them proud and also give me something that was rewarding and giving back to the community, because my parents do love to give back to the community because the United States has been very, very good to them.
Gamboa climbed the ranks in Texas, going from patrol officer to sergeant and eventually lieutenant. In January 2022, Gamboa picked up her life in Texas and moved it right here to Central Illinois at EIU for the opportunity of a lifetime. It started with an unexpected call.
At first I thought it was just maybe one of those spam callers or something. When this position became available, it wasn't something that I was looking for. I was very comfortable where I was at.
While comfort may be convenient, Gamboa says you need to push yourself sometimes. That's exactly what she did when she accepted the chief job. Gamboa says working on a college campus also gives her the chance to inspire students, especially other Latinas like EIU criminal justice major Crystal Munoz.
I know learning in my classes about recidivism and all that stuff is really infuriating to see how the system is handling things, and I know that the best way to help is just get in the middle of it.
She's been working at the police department since her freshman year. Munoz wants to help formerly incarcerated people get back on their feet. She says working with Chief Gamboa and the other officers helps her envision that future.
Seeing how they're able to connect with the student body and how it's about trying to protect them, definitely think prepares me for wanting to work with people who have been out of the system.
And for others following similar paths, Chief Gamboa has one key piece of advice that has helped her achieve success.
Some officers tend to lose that, the initial reason why they became an officer. Knowing your community and staying focused as far as why you actually got into law enforcement.
And coming up next, they've changed a lot over time and continue to evolve.
The later 2000s and 2010s, we had kind of this surge of conventions that were specifically for quinceañeras.
Why this coming-of-age tradition remains a cultural staple no matter the year. We all know a good coming-of-age story. Throughout time, the genre has remained popular in literature, theater, and film. But in Hispanic culture, the quinceañera is a real-life coming-of-age story. It's an integral part of a young girl becoming a young woman. As an adult, you usually want the birthdays to slow down. As a kid, they can't come fast enough. That's especially true for a young Latina nearing her 15th birthday.
You get all of these really wonderful, like big and creative celebrations where there's color, there's life, and there's sparkly stuff, as you can see in the exhibit.
Quinceañeras, celebration, joy, and ethnic pride. This exhibit is housed at the U of I's Spurlock Museum. A team of 2 professors and 2 doctoral students brought it to life. The quinceañera is transnational, celebrated by Hispanic families in the U.S. and overseas, in places like Mexico, Honduras, El Salvador, and Guatemala.
Some people date it back to the indigenous era, some other people don't. But definitely it was brought to the United States by immigrants, and it was resurrected in a way in the 60s when there was this wave of ethnic pride, Chicano pride.
It's that sense of pride that makes it an essential celebration.
Regardless of income, people really do invest a lot in this celebration. It's kind of like going to Disneyland. It's very expensive, but people still manage to afford going into Disneyland.
It's an important milestone in the life of a 15-year-old girl that combines religious ritual and party.
In Catholic tradition, you would go to a mass where you get anointed by a priest, you get blessed by your godparents, you offer a floral bouquet to an altar of the Virgin Mary or the Virgen de Guadalupe, depending on your culture. There's that performance element that is inherent throughout the whole celebration.
Girls typically select a court of friends and cousins close in age. You perform a waltz, a fun surprise dance, and usually a father-daughter dance, all requiring weeks of practice with a choreographer. The outfit is the most central element. Traditionally, it's ball gowns or princess-like dresses fit to your personal style. And the quinceañera is incomplete without an elaborate food display and a cake matching the color theme of the party. For mine, I went with turquoise, white, and red. It's also like a big family reunion in honor of the birthday girl.
You get to see your family maybe, once or twice a year all together, and that was one of those occasions that we still talk about.
It's about making a statement and sharing your coming-of-age story.
It's a way for a girl to say, I am here, I matter. And I am making decisions about this celebration and ipso facto about my life.
We hope you've enjoyed tonight's special program celebrating the Hispanic heritage right in your backyard. Have a great night.